In this lesson, we'll build the wheels for our vehicle. So here we have one of the wheels that we have created, just put in position already. The first thing you might want to do would be to shape this a little bit. Now you can either smooth this when you go to render, or you might be able to get away with, if you have it as a high enough resolution, you might be able to go ahead and just leave it as it is. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and shape this just a little bit. Just kind of pull these in. Okay, and I'm just going to worry mainly about the outside, but you can do the same thing to the other side. I've just got this model isolate selected, and also got have auto load new objects on, so that when I bring something in, it will come into our session here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a polygon primitive sphere, and let's go ahead and scale it up. And I'm going to rotate that in the Z 90 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and bring that into position. Let me go to our side view here and bring that into the right position. Alright, and now what I want to do is change the resolution, so I'm going to go ahead and bump that up to 36. Alright, and I want a sort of a concave piece here, so it can kind of slope back. So I'm going to go ahead and delete basically the front 3/4 or so of this sphere. So I just am left with the back. And get that selected there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and delete that. And now you can see that we're looking now at the inside of the sphere, so the normals are reversed. So we'll go ahead and reverse those back. We can center our pivot and go ahead and scale this down. We get something a little bit nicer. Go ahead and move that into our tire there. And this can be our hub back, the back of our hubcap. So go ahead and call it something appropriate. Delete our history, freeze our transforms, and now we can duplicate this to bring forward. And this can be the front here. And so I'm just going to cut out the center piece there. And now I'm going to just cut out a pattern in here. And you can feel free to cut out any sort of pattern you want. You don't have to follow along with what I'm doing. But I want a high enough res so that I can get an interesting pattern in here that's kind of different from any kind of spokes or anything like that. It'll be kind of a radial pattern, but hopefully a little bit different. And we'll be able to show some glowing lights through some of these, and it'll be kind of interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and select just any kind of pattern that you want. And I'll go all the way out to the end. And before we do the pattern, I want to kind of shape this outer part. So I'm going to go ahead and select the border edge tool, and I'm going to push this back a little. Then select edge loop, deselect, select edge loop, and pull this forward just to give it a little bit of shape there where it meets the wheel of the tire. Okay, so I'm going to just select a particular pattern. Okay, and then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and just do the same pattern over here, going in the same direction. Okay, and then we'll do one more. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we'll do one right here. And all the way out. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just delete those. And I'm going to smooth this now. And I want to select preserve geometry borders so that I can maintain those edges there. And now let's go ahead and choose a little bit more detail here. And with the higher resolution, we're able to select more finely here, so we don't have to just select those large faces. So go ahead and select basically a couple of alternating rows of faces, and these we can actually show a little bit of light through and have some sort of a kind of a futuristic look to those. And come down here and do the same thing. Get those all selected. And once we've got those selected, we can go ahead and just delete those. Okay. And now if we want to, we can extrude this back, give it some thickness. Okay, we'll just extrude that straight back. And we're not going to be smoothing this. Let's go ahead and reverse the normals. We're going to be leaving this as a polygon. But what we might want to do is bevel these edges a bit. Okay, to create a little bit of a kick there when we go to light this. So we can select our edge loop tool, go in and select particular loops there. Okay, and just by double clicking, you can select, and I'm just selecting the ones on the front, not necessarily the ones all the way in the back, so we don't really need to worry about those. So I'll just select all the edges that we want to bevel all the way around. Anywhere we've got an opening, like these little openings here, we would select those. Okay, go ahead and get all those selected. Make sure you've got all of them. And then we can do a bevel on those just to add a little bit of interesting detail there. So we can go to Edit Mesh and go down to Bevel. You can do a bevel. And there you can see that little edge that's been created. And you can go to your offset and change that. But I think that's going to probably work pretty well for us. 0.25. You can change the roundness and things like that too. But you can click off and you can see where you can kind of get a, see now you've got that little highlight along that edge. Okay. So now let's push this back into our wheel. We've got our backing kind of right up against it. Let's go ahead and create a kind of a cap here for the inside. We'll go ahead and just create a cylinder. Let's scale that up a bit. Let's go ahead and bring that over and center that on our hubcap. And rotate that 90 degrees. Then we'll go into the side view and center that up right in there. And we can do some scaling to get it the right size. Okay. We'll just kind of have it cover that piece right there. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and select just the front faces. Then we'll start doing some extruding. So go ahead and scale this down and pull it out. Scale it down again. Okay. Extrude again. This time we'll scale this down. And let's scale it in that direction. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and insert some edge loops right along here to hold these. If we go and smooth these, I'm going to select basically these corner vertices. And I just want to kind of square this off a bit. So I'm going to select these. Just kind of square that off, pull these in a little bit. Pull these in. And then I'll take these faces in the interior and let's go ahead and extrude these in, scale them in just a little bit. And then push them in. and one more time. Okay, and now this we can smooth if we want to. We got a little piece inside there. Let's go ahead and take the back of this off. So go ahead and delete that back. Make sure you don't get rid of any of these pieces on the side. And now we can smooth this and just kind of stick it in there like so. Okay, and then you can go ahead and just take all these pieces and group them together and kind of center the pivot. And there you've got a wheel, and you can just duplicate that over and scale it into position for all of the other wheels that you have. So you can see there is our wheel now. And we still have some texturing to do on there, but and shading to add. But that'll work, and you can feel free to add your own sort of pattern in there as well. That's just kind of one that I came up with. So in the next lesson, let's go ahead and move up and finish the grill. So we can kind of push this area in here. We can add the kind of the trim and the actual piece of the grill in there and do some detailing up here. So we'll go ahead and do that in the next lesson.